Well, hello, boys and girls.
Hi.
What a wonderful day it is today in our money-based economy. Well, sit back and relax and get ready for the guy who's about to ruin everything.
I'm puzzled. Are you really seriously suggesting that Jesus Christ was a mushroom?
Wayne, Jesus was a mushroom Roberts.
Yes. You are dealing with a secret cult, a secret society.
Welcome to Waning Interest.
Welcome to the smallest click on the internet. The Waning Interest Podcast, Unlocked Wednesday, hour number 25, June 5th, 2019. Coming up, we've got the Wednesday joke and the Wednesday radio story. If you're new, hello, how are you? I'm well, and I'll further the knowledge for you of knowing that I'm well for the next 58 minutes and whatever. I'm not good at math. So there, you know how well I am at that. So the Wednesday joke are early stuff I wrote for the first handful of open mics I went to. It's really trashy, so it's really funny. Kind of. Sort of. And the radio stories are just goofy shit that happened. My show business career, I guess you could say, and all the things that I've done, started in radio. And there are a lot of things to tell, tales to tell, some of them tall, some of them small. God, that was hacky. But a lot of good ones. And if you are a first-time listener, never-time caller, phones don't work. Then you can go back to all the Wednesday hours, which are on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn, Google Play, Laughable, and Spotify, which is where you might have found us. So go back, check those out. Some of them are pretty good, and the other ones are even better. And that was Joe Cruz you heard on the open, and you hear on the front and ass end of the promos. My buddy Joe, cruzvo.com. His link should be right there in the description. Hit him up, man. He'll give you some good shit if you're producing a little podcast of your own or doing something else where you need a voice guy. Because why would you want me? I'm going to prove that for the next 56 minutes. Monday, Patreon hour. Friday, Patreon hour. Here, Wednesdays are on all those platforms. And along, you call yourself a fucking broadcaster? Not with a lot of confidence. It's just, it's on the resume, man. All right. But there are also bonus hours if you see wherever you are. Or one time there was a bonus half hour. So if you are liking and continue to like what you are hearing, then you can go over to the Patreon page where you can hear or you can become a whip, part of the Waning Interest Podcast pack, for a very small amount of money. I am one cheap fuck in all the ways you want to look at that. $2 a month for 3, maybe more hours a week of this unbelievably fantastic broadcasting that's a fantasy, if you really want to use that adjective. You think this is fantastic? Yes. But in a different kind of fantastic way, which, as you will find out by continuing to listen and understanding fully, because I know it right away, right off the bat. For some, I'm a complete motherfucking turnoff. But a lot of them, what happens is they come back and go, I'm fucking bored, and there was something that I did click with me, so I came back, and I really just sat there and fucking listened, and got it when you went all the way through a silly fucking rant, and realizing that, the wave that we ride on this, if you stick with the whole hour, oh my God, it goes from what the fuck to, oh, this is fun. And that's the best way they can describe it. I think it's pretty cool. They may not rant like I just did the way I did, but I'm just trying to shorten it for you people so we can move on to better things. And $2 a month, $24 a year, tell me something cheaper. You can't. So, it's all about people's power around here, because as you can also see and hear, you are fucking awful. Thank you. There are no ads. You might want to think about it to break up this retardation. He's right. We're not going to do ads, but we are going to do, at some point, some cross-promotion of some other podcasts. Why does it always happen? I can be there, standing there for 2 hours straight, researching shit or doing whatever work on the computer, and not one gurgle will come up through my fucking throat. Not once will I hear that fucking sound. Not once will that fucking happen. I click on this motherfucking microphone. Boom. There it is for you. Because I'm a sharer. Anyway, you're not going to hear any ads, but you might hear some cross-promotion coming up of other podcasts where I'll talk about them for a really split second and throw 30 seconds of a little promo that they've produced themselves and go, here. And then they'll do the same for me. Probably much better. But I guarantee you I got the better promos. A lot of that has to do with Joe. I must give credit where credit is due. He's my Doc Holliday. He's my Huckleberry. And the Huckleberry is another proponent of people's power. So, $2 a month. Wayne, you might want to shut up for a second because you're saying that you don't do ads, and this is starting to sound like a fucking ad, you dick. He's right. You're right that he's right, that I'm wrong. People's power. I mean, hell. Where else am I going to get paid? Can't book a fucking voice job, can't book any other jobs, and I'm a Padawan in the stand-up world, so you think I get paid yet? I mean, really paid? I'm hoping you said no, because I really want you to be right. Twitter and Instagram, Wayne Roberts 811. And if you go to the Instagram or the Twitter, but it'll be easier on the Instagram, you'll be able to see the promos for the upcoming show next Thursday. If you're in the Los Angeles area, the 13th, at the Dojo of Comedy, which sits atop the Sycamore Tavern on Sunset. Hey, you know what? Free parking. I know that just sold you. I've got a Slayer lineup I'm hosting. Can't wait to pull them all up there one at a time and let them rip the roof off and let it cave in on the crowd while they're howling. Sam Tripoli, Felicia Michaels, Jimmy Schubert, Erica Rhodes. Show me a better foursome. No, wait, stop, don't. I'm talking about comedy. You dirty motherfuckers. You dirty little whips. Oh, right. I did go back to the ad. But that's what it is. You get to be a whip. Part of the Waning Interest podcast pack. I actually think I did say that a little bit earlier, so at least I brought it back and made sure that I locked that one down. And moving on again, right? Yeah, okay. Dojo show, we're back to that. $10, free parking, great drink prices, and I hear the food is great at the Sycamore Tavern. I've never eaten there. I've only done the mics and done some shows, or been to some shows up there. They have a downstairs. There's it's called the Dojo Annex, and that's where they do open mics every night, most nights. And then the shows are upstairs at the dojo, and there's also another bar up there. Great room. And it's picking up. It's been around for a bit. Sam and Trevor have been doing it up for a bit, and it's getting more. Jimmy Dore does shows there. They have the Rebels of Comedy shows there. TK. I've done TK shows back when they were at the Formosa Cafe. Was it the Formosa? Yeah. Which I don't know if it's there anymore. Is it? I don't know. Anyway, gonna be a great show. You can go to the Instagram and see the videos of each of the comics and the link for the Eventbrite if you want to buy the tickets online. Or the door is fine. But you can check out, if you've never seen any of those comics, you can have a little bit of proof of what I'm talking about, of what you'll be coming into. Murderers Row. All of them except for Erica are Comedy Store paid regulars. I'm not sure why Erica's not. She sure as hell should be. Jimmy's a fucking Comedy Store legend. He drove his motorcycle back in the 80s. He drove his motorcycle onto the main stage at the end of a set of Sam Kinison. And Kinison didn't even know it was supposed to happen, if I've got the story right. And he just went along with the bit, and he apparently didn't like motorcycles, but still jumped on the back, and Jimmy drove off the stage, down the hallway, and out onto Sunset with Sam screaming, "You crazy bastard." And it was one of the coolest moments ever in the many years of the Comedy Store, and many, many, many stories. And I've seen all of these comics slay over and over. So I'm going to stop selling them. Hey, for a podcast that doesn't have any ads, we're 14 minutes in and it sounds like one giant ad. What is this, a fucking paid program on the fucking weekend on what I gotta sit through because there's no fucking sports because TV sucks? Kind of, but different. Okay. Next thing, while you're on Instagram checking out those videos of Erica, Felicia, Sam, and Jimmy, start the hashtag WIPP in all caps with a little S. Because if I do it, it's just too much. It should be the fans. And also, hashtag, and another hashtag with it, Waning Interest Podcast Pack. Right? And another one, hashtag Waning Interest Podcast. Now, see the Wayne Roberts? It's taken by the director. Hashtag Wayne Roberts. So I don't know if we can overtake it. Hey, there's a plan, huh? It'd be nice. See, my days in radio, I worked for the Ron and Ron show for a bit. I was Batman. Seriously. That was my nickname. And what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. What was I going to say about the Ron and Ron show? The worst part, it was a morning show that was huge. I was kidding. It was a morning show that was really big in the Southeast. I've mentioned it before, but if you're new. And in the late 80s, early 90s, they were huge. And they were syndicated, and they were their own syndication network. And they had, at the most, I believe it was 18 affiliates. When I joined the show, it was 15. But they were one of the handful of shows, and one of the main ones that Howard would always bash, saying that they ripped him off. And I thought Howard was boring, but Ron and Ron was hilarious because it was like, parody guy described it once as, it was like the show always had 5 plates spinning, and as soon as one plate slowed down, they'd go to the next one, and it just boom, boom, boom. And he didn't, and we would hit our breaks on time. So unlike Howard, who would not break for 45 minutes, and then you had to sit through 15 minutes of fucking commercials all at once. I found that so fucking annoying, and so not taking anything away from Howard and what he did for radio, but Jesus, talk about blowing your load all over yourself. Just take the goddamn break. It's only supposed to be 3-4 minutes in radio. Just take the fucking break. And then to come along and then shit on podcasting. Dude. Anyway. With the Ron and Ron show, I've forgotten again what the hell I was going to say. I'm kidding. Because of the Howard thing, one of the worst parts of being one of the producers, and everybody wrote, not everybody, but there were certain jobs during the show that everybody kind of took over a little bit here and there. Which one of those was answering the phones. So wasn't one person always answering the phones. But everybody that did had to put up with fucking Howard's fans. Baba booey, and hanging up. Like every third, fourth call, some weeks were so bad. Some days were the worst. And then because it got you paranoid to where you were like, man, I don't know if this one's actually real for real. This one might have slipped by, and if they get in, get through, and if I let them get through and they get on the air, and then they end up being a crank, then I get yelled at. So it was the fucking worst. So, the point being, what if the whips could be as strong as the Howard fans like that and take over that fucking Wayne Roberts hashtag, huh? How's that for Longwinded? It's just an idea. I'm not looking to be the biggest podcast ever. No way at all. I'd be happy with 1,000 patrons on Patreon. I wouldn't mind putting a cap on that. Unless they were all for $2, because then that just would be enough, you know what I'm saying? But why do I do the podcast? Because, many reasons, but one of them, many people say that because I'm not around them, they miss me. And they always say it. And I never know whether they're full of shit or not. But either way, just to make sure, this way they don't have to. Or the joke's on me. But either way, that will be the true finish. Because the joke was all on me. And if you're confused right now, it just proves when I tell you that we're all one. I feel you. But sometimes, you do think, it's the joke on me. Wait, I never know. I can never tell if somebody's full of fucking shit when they're giving a compliment. I mean, I do, but I don't. It's like I know, but I don't want to admit it because I need that love. But because I'm so analytical and such a fucking nitwit jerk-off thinker, then I'll immediately go, nah, they're lying. But what if they're not? Nah. And I'll lean 75% that way. Maybe that's why people say I have an attitude. But that's because 9 times out of 10, turns out I was right. Out of just a few, though, because the rest of them are real. I know there's real love out there. And if you know where it is, I already gave the email address, right? I forgot the email address. Again, great broadcasting. Wayne Roberts, VO. No. .com. No, that's not it. That's not even my fucking website anymore. WaningInterestPodcast@gmail.com. Holy shit, you suck. I'm starting to agree. And hey, that kind of proves what I was talking about earlier, because before I hit record, he was saying nice shit, which only gave me the confidence to go ahead and hit record, and then I'm trying my hardest, and then he's shitting on me, and I don't know what to do. So I'll keep going. See, the joke's on you. Right. And speaking of podcasts and people that are just so many of them, and everybody should, some people should and some people shouldn't, but my fucking neighbor, what an asshat, racist, egomaniacal wench. See, we're in a little corner. Her door is directly across from mine, about 25 feet away. And we're in a corner that's kind of like this vortex or whatever, so any sound coming from either out of one of our doors is going to echo, boom, and in the courtyard, and it's really loud in our courtyard in this building. And it's obvious to anyone that's been here for a day. And she has to sit there in her place with the door wide open while on the fucking speakerphone. Every fucking day. Again, people wonder, why do I have an attitude? Start your own broadcast. Your own podcast, asshole, if you want to broadcast the whole fucking world. It's not self-awareness. It's just enjoying being a fucking asshole. That's what she is. And I sound like a dick saying it, but if you were ever to come over to Waning Interest Podcast headquarters and witness it, you might be on my side. Speaking of assholes, I got a haircut today. And her name, I'm just going to give you the spelling. RIMA. And you could say that I got an awful rim job. What is the sense of living? I spend more time fixing my fucking hair every time I get a haircut than they do fucking it up. Maybe it's me and my eyesight's off when I look in the mirror, but how the fuck they can get my sideburns so... Everybody. 9 out of 10 people that have cut my hair, it's amazing because my hair is... I'm told that it's the easiest to cut. So why would it be the easiest to fuck up? I mean, what is wrong with my ears? What's up with my... Oh, what? She cut... Look, that's a half an inch. That's almost a whole inch difference. She didn't see that. Oh, look at this hair here. Oh, look, she cut my fucking neck with the buzzer. And then missed a spot on my... And missed... I didn't know because she had pulled it back, but there was a spot on my bangs that was missed too, because all of a sudden I get home and I'm like, what? Why was any hair hitting me in the eye? Oh, because it's too goddamn long. She missed that. Till this day, I could tell you that I never got a bad rim job. The streak is over, people. Her name. I don't know. I don't even know. She never said it. I don't know if it's Rima or Rema. I don't know. But her name is spelled R-I-M-A. How many times have I said simulation on this podcast? I know you can't answer that because you just tuned in for the first time, and if you're actually a whip already, that you didn't count. Or maybe if you're a whip, you probably are counting. If you're a fan of me, you're probably kind of strange. You prove it with your emails. Whatever. I almost never want to get a haircut again or just shave my fucking head again. But my head, I can't get used to it, or maybe it's because I don't do it right, but maybe I don't get my hair cut often enough because I'm one of those that gets it cut, and instead of getting it cut once a month to keep it where it is, like a lot of dudes and a lot of ladies, or once every 6 weeks or whatever, or sometimes some people even more frequent. I'm usually not like that. I'll let it grow out quite a bit. I'll wait 3-4 months. And then I'll go cut, and then I'll keep it frequent a couple of times, and then let it grow out again, and maybe go Jesus mode. Ever tell you Jesus was a mushroom? If you're new, obviously not. But you heard something in the open. It's not a joke, it's just a little factage that you could look up for yourself and go, oh my God, this makes total sense. But you just have to set aside everything that you think you know. And then you'll go, holy Christ. No intended pun. I put a D on the end of pun, and I didn't mean to, but turned out sounded funnier because I flipped it. You know what I did. We are at 29 minutes and 35 seconds past the hour, and how many laughs have you had so far? Hey! Like I said, I know one of you, well, at least a handful of you whips are counting, and it makes me proud. We are 30 minutes past the hour, so it is time for the Wednesday shitty joke. Early days of going, hey, I think I might step on stage and try to make people laugh with this rotten piece of fucking fruit. Any insomniacs out there? I'm going to give you a few minutes of cheap medicine. I also volunteer on the coma floor at all county hospitals. Had to quit drinking. Hard stuff. Found out I was allergic to Jack Daniels. Every time I'd drink it, I'd piss in the closet and break out in handcuffs for prank calling the White House. And that's been your Wednesday shitty old joke. How do you like them apples, huh? Yes, as I said, rotten fruit. No, it's not actually rotten fruit. What it is it's fruit that it came out, I don't want to use the R word, but it's still edible. Because of my motherfucking charm. Part of it's true. A lot of it's not. Never prank called the White House. Although, when I went back to find an old, all that crap that I wrote way back in the archives of the stand-up material that, it's a pile of shit, but whatever. I saw this and went, man, that was a good idea. I should prank call the White House. From my neighbor's phone. And you thought that shit wasn't going to have a good ending. Fuck you. In the nicest way. I never thought I would fucking say, I told Joe this earlier today, we were FaceTiming. I said, dude, I never thought I would ever say that one of my favorite things to watch is a talk show ho. A talk show ho? Jesus, I know. One of my favorite things to watch is a talk show hosted by Mike fucking Tyson. Have you watched Hot Boxing with Tyson on YouTube? And wherever, that's where I see it, so I don't know where you might see it somewhere else. Or, I don't know, I'm not, do you think I could keep a couple of, fuck, man, I know. It might be on a website or wherever, I just watch it on YouTube. And it's insanely fun to watch because, for me, being a psychedelic guy, because Mike has done DMT and talks about it a lot, he's so deep and he actually has questions that you never would think that Mike Tyson would ask, which is what makes it even more interesting and fun to watch and listen to. Never thought. Hey, it's one of my fun. It's fun to watch a talk show and Mike Tyson hosting. What? Now, some of you may not be Mike Tyson fans. Don't blame you. I'm not the big Mike Tyson fan either, but the reason that I do enjoy it is mostly because it's so deep. And they talk about psychedelics. They talk about DMT. They talk about shit that is really important, which you really wouldn't expect, again, from Mike fucking Tyson. And if you are perfect, you ain't listening to this. I ain't defending Mike Tyson anything, but I do give him props for taking owning up for everything that seemingly that I know of that he has, and thankfully part of that is from the DMT and made him a different person. So there's really not a whole lot of boxing talk on Hot Boxing with Tyson, which is the best part of the fucking, at least not the ones that I've watched. I mean, of course, some of the guests will ask, good God, you fucking blow. Well, I'm not going to make a joke. Some of the guests ask about boxing, so there's a little bit, I know, but you would think, the normal person would think immediately that, oh, it's got to be all about boxing, but no, man. No, it's about a lot more. And it's really strange to think that in 2019 I'm saying something like that. But it's also very strange that I'm doing a fucking podcast and that I've actually gotten through 36 minutes. Wow. It is. With all the bumbling and stumbling, but that's normal. Does make it feel like a chore. Which it is, kind of, because of all the stuff around it. But it's also therapy. It's fun. It's a relief. It's a release. And I don't get interrupted when I'm talking. I get to go a whole hour without getting interrupted so I can actually finish my fucking points, which I normally don't get to do because so many fucking people cut me off after asking me a question and I get 2 sentences in and they go right into more shit. And I'm like, man, or they jump on something else and we go off on a tangent, but I'm guilty of the same thing, but nowhere near as often. Unless I haven't talked to anybody in a while. And then, yeah, I can get lost in on some of the... But normally I'm a fantastic listener because I'm a Meisner-trained actor. Starting to sound like an ad again. I know. You hear your neighbor. Yeah, I know. She's really loud. Yeah, I know. Is that the same neighbor? No, it's not. So you got one on the right, one on the left that are doing the same kind of shit? Yep. No wonder you have an attitude. That's what I'm saying. And you know what helps? Psychedelics. But saying that, of course, if you don't know me or haven't heard me before, that would lead you to assume that maybe I do them all the time, and I don't. It's been almost a year since I spent some time with Fun Guy. And I gotta tell you, I know how it affects you when it comes to the blues. It can get rid of a lot of those blues. It's not a dead-end cure. I believe it's something that most of us, because some people shouldn't do psychedelics because of bad wiring or whatever, or need to get fixed some other way before doing them. But the majority of people can do psychedelics, and especially the natural ones, mushrooms, mainly what I'm talking about, and do them responsibly and understand what the hell, whoa. After doing them correctly, you can see why they are used for spiritual reasons in many cultures. And how it might explain a lot of questions you may have on certain aspects of religion that you've been taught. Like, wait a minute, is there some anthropomorphizing, slicing going on here? Are they taking something that's one thing and making it into a person? Which a lot of people believe, but they're not sure exactly what. But some of them think it's the actual human. Like, I'm not talking about people saying that they've made God in their own image. I'm saying that people are saying that they've made God in their own image. No, what I'm actually saying is they've made the doorway. They've made the God into their own image. We've made the God into our own image. But we've also made the doorway, the natural doorway, medicine, telephone, email, and made it a him, another, made it a person, made it our own image. Same fucking thing. But when you say, when I say the Jesus mushroom thing, and it's not just me, I didn't do all the work. It was more like I was Mikey from the Goonies, and it's like I found the map, and I just kept going, wait. But there were there were dead people on the trail before me who had already gone through already understood things. They just, they slipped a little bit. And maybe this podcast is my slip. But you may see how they relate. They correlate to where, of course, we're going to make it in everything in our own image if we don't understand what it really is. And the powers that be, not all of them, but the main powers that be know that shit, and they keep it from us. And that's why the world is kind of a toilet, ego-ridden, because they've taken us away from our actual real religion, which is psychedelics, which helps keep the ego down. And especially when you're doing it communal. That's what Burning Man is all about. Burning Man, you just shouldn't have to go out there and do all that shit. You can still have your communities. Just make things more local like they should be, so you're not shipping food in all the way across the world for no fucking reason. You can localize shit. There's all kinds of ways to grow food and other things without having to do that, which is a real slam on the environment. Whatever. But tripping should be somewhat communal as well for some people, but I'm not one of those. I like it to keep it to just me and one other person, or just me with a friend just hanging out just in case. But you start to understand, wait, whoa. When anybody that's tripping balls, when they're talking about everything in the world, and they sound like Jesus. And that's just one of the simple ones, one of the simple clues, or not factoids, but what word, I don't know. Ways to describe what the fuck I'm talking about. And some of them are just little fun things that make sense that have nothing to do with science, but the rest of it is fucking science. And I can never get that word right. Anthropomorphize. Well, I gotta make sure I'm getting that right. Ding, ding, ding. Time to Google. Right? Pomorphic. Anthropomorphize. Right? Yes. Anthropomorphize. I always want to put the R earlier. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Try saying it 3 times fast and tell me that you don't do the same motherfucking thing. All right, all right, all right. What did I tell you? We're all one. Anthropomorphize. Attribute human characteristics or behavior to a animal, object, God, or God. People's tendency to anthropomorphize their dogs. Here, let's just do this. Anthropomorphize. I've never done this before. Mushrooms. What happens? Can mushrooms communicate? People ask. You know, when you Google and then there's that thing, can you ask? People also ask, can mushrooms communicate? I've never done this before, but I've talked about the mycelium below us, which is also above us, internet, and there's other above and below things too, but the internet thing, the fungi all around, all below us, underneath the ground, they're in that soil, helping the trees and all the other stuff as well. They're a big part of that shit. And the biggest organism is the honey mushroom in Oregon. Acres and acres huge. Most of it's underground. Anyway, what does this say? People ask, can mushrooms communicate? The World Wide Web can do all of this for plants. Fungi are made up of tiny threads called mycelium. These travel underground, connecting the roots of different plants in an area, even different species together, allowing them to communicate, and so much more. You heard me say it many times. In my own way. There it is on the internets. Facts. And you can ask Paul Stamets. I don't want to say king. I don't like that. I don't want to say guru. He's a mycologist. He knows everything there is to know about mushrooms, and not just the psychedelic ones. He doesn't, most of the time, that's not even what he talks about with people or puts up videos on his Instagram and Twitter and his talks. He talks about many other things that make the mushroom a savior of the planet, which just adds to the psychedelic aspect of those mushrooms. So it's all kinds of them. Not just the ones that make you trip. Turkey tail mushrooms, Paul says, helped rid his mother of cancer. And I believe she was stage 4. And that was over 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just saying, look it up. I do it for you and read it to you, but how do you know to believe me? Look for yourself. That's the point. All right. Now it's time. At 48 after. It's time for the Wednesday radio story. Here on the Waning Interest Podcast. Was I done with the mushrooms, by the way? Yeah, I was done with the mushrooms. You get it. You can go on and see what I'm saying. Like I said, look for yourself. Wednesday radio story, I know. This one's kind of fun because, well, they're all fun, for fuck's sake, right? Right. My ex-wife, the mother of my daughter, we met in radio. I was in the production department doing tags for commercials and stuff, and also helping to produce some talk shows here and there if need be. And this was after they hadn't quite destroyed the radio station yet, but it was pretty close. we were basically down to Anakin Skywalker's body before he had to become Darth, be put together with everything to be Darth Vader. Slicing and dicing. But one of the shows that they put on were these two girls, and they did a show for a couple of years or so, and I helped them out a little bit, but that's where I got to know her. And at one point, her co-host took a break to have a baby. So she wasn't doing a show for a while and asked if it was okay, and then went to see if it was okay to try to do a show with me. And they okayed it, and we started doing a show, and it was pretty funny. She was the driver, the mainly serious one. And I was there just to keep it light. And at the time, I didn't... This is 1999 when it started. 99 or 2000. I think it was 99 because 99 when it started. And I didn't want to be serious. There was... One of the shows I cut my teeth on was called Rick and Suds. Rick was the driver, main one, serious. I mean, he was funny too, but not as funny as Suds. He was, did most of them, and Suds was like, Andy Richter. He was a good sidekick. Always dropped bombs, but he was clean. And I had a joke running, and one of the salespeople actually believed it, that Suds was my dad. But I always told everybody that all I ever really wanted to do in radio was be a young, dirty Suds. So that's all I was trying to be in our show, the Tara and Wayne Show. Just a young, dirty Suds, not be serious. Here and there, maybe be serious about some things, but you're the one that brings the funny. And bit ideas. I produced some bits and stuff here and there that I used to do a Ross Perot. Yeah, I did. I don't know. I haven't done it in a while. I could get it back down, but did a Ross Perot shit. Did some bits. They were potential. I guarantee if I went back, I'd go ew. But if I made it like half as long, it might be okay. But we did Saturdays, and at one point we had Saturday and Sunday for a little while, 3 hours. And sometimes we would fill in during the week for others' shows that may be on vacation. Not a bad listenership for such a small little thing with no promotion. And I didn't know anything about Heir Awards, the South Florida Heir Awards. Did nothing about this shit, really. Started to learn a bit about it when I was in the production department, but never thought about winning. I've never been an awards person, really, even though I have won something for everything I've ever done. That was never the point. I even got Employee of the Month from Clear Channel Communications. Holy shit. That's a joke. Anyway, the Heir Award thing comes up, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Are we really gonna, are we gonna participate? Are we gonna submit something? We should do that, shouldn't we? And after I'd heard about it, I put in to be, from our station, one of the people that listens to the stuff that gets submitted from another market. So that's what would happen. You would submit your shit, and it would go to a market that you didn't know, somewhere else, and those radio people would vote on all that stuff on the same parameters that you had, and you'd get the same thing. So I would listen to stuff from all over the country. This is back in 99, 2000, the way they did things back then. And it's kind of neat. in a way. And I submitted a 10-minute piece. I think it had to be, was it 5 minutes? I think it was 5 minutes. But there was this one, we were funny a lot. But there was this one 10-minute piece of the show once that was just booming. It was like, I don't know if I'll ever be a part of, just for me, unless I'm with somebody else that's much bigger and better. But I don't know if I'll ever be the source of 10 minutes of that kind of funny fucking radio. Holy shit, I can't believe how good that segment was. How do I get it? Which part of the 5 minutes do I use? And I did it, got it to where I wanted it and went, all right, this is going in. And we were up against, the category we were allowed to submit to was Best Weekend Non-Music Program. So we were up against a bunch of sports stuff and other non-music weekend talk shows. So I thought we had no fucking chance until I remembered that 5 minutes and went, we have to win. We have to. There's no way, because you can't. Who gives a fuck about sport? 5 minutes of somebody talking about sports, please. You can't compare this. This has got 3 different subjects in it, and it's 3 people laughing their ass off, and there's just riffing punchlines, just laughs. Whoa, this is funny. There's no way we're gonna lose. But then my co-host decides to go, and I think we should use this. And I thought she was going to fuck everything up by going around and submitting another thing without my knowledge. Luckily, somehow, they got mine first, and no harm was done. And we get to the Heir Awards, and I'm like, oh my God, look who's here. That's my instructor from radio school. Red Puddinhead, Bob Gaynor. Holy shit. Haven't seen him since I went and visited the class once after, it's been 5 years or so, 6 years. Great to see him. He was so cool, so funny. See you soon someday. And he was, I can't believe it. I know you're in talk radio. How funny you stayed in talk. Because I got my job at IOD, where it all started to talk right out of class because of him. Because he had connections. And anyway, now here we are. And I'm sitting there with my boss, Mark, who from the production department, which I worked, Monday through Friday, when I wasn't doing the radio show. And we're sitting there, and my ex-wife is there. We're not married yet, but my daughter's in her belly. And we're sitting there, and I'm realizing, if we win, I told her that she could do all the talking anyway. I don't know. What am I going to say? And they call our fucking name. And we're in this big banquet hall. All these fucking, every important radio person is there in South Florida or Miami, Fort Lauderdale. And we get up there, and as we're walking up, I said, you can do all the talking. You can do all that. You're the best at telling the thank yous. That's your thing anyway. Of course, you can be better at me. She takes the award. She steps to the podium and says, thank you very much. And then steps back, hands me the award. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I look out, and I'm like, holy shit, I never thought I'd be standing here thinking this. I haven't said a word yet, and I just look at the award, and I go, I just won an award for being a wise ass. Laughs. My mom is going to be so proud of me. Thank you. Laughs and applause. Holy shit, we just won. And my daughter was there. Wasn't born yet, but she was right there. Pretty fucking special, man. And to finish off that story, we went on to have a few more months of good radio, and then they pulled us and fired us, and then blah, blah, blah. And then Nashville was on the way. And that's the Wednesday radio story of the Waiting Angels podcast. Watch Redacted tonight. Jimmy Dore Show, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, The Corbett Report. Look for yourself. I'm just here to be a fun, babbling lecture. Remember, we're all Neo, a.k.a. One. Sorry, ran long. Had to bump comedian Burt Kreischer. Thanks, Gary. Daddy loves you. Stop looking at me, man.